Well, hello. You know, in the spring, everything in the garden is just bursting forth. You get so much goodness and just like healthy, delicious food that you grew out of the garden or your farmer's market, whatever works for you. And what I love is spinach. I love when I can go out and get small spinach leaves, baby spinach. You can buy it in the store, obviously, too. It's always delicious, nutritious, healthy, green, and it's so fun to use in so many things like spinach salad. Now, this is the one I grew up with some changes. I am gonna say it is, for me in the Midwest, like a classic church cookbook spinach salad. Now, I've updated it, I've changed a few things, not to necessarily just make it healthier, but also to make it have more flavor, more brightness, just more excitement. So for this, we're gonna start by getting some bacon cooking. Now, we could do it on the skillet, why not? Or we could do it, you know, in the oven. Now, a lot of times in the oven, you're gonna see it put on racks. I don't like to have to clean that rack up. So instead, I just lay it out, let it sit there, and yes, it cooks in the fat, but you can still just like take it out of the fat and then save the fat. Because if you are from anywhere that knows, you save the bacon grease. You do not throw that out. Bacon grease, it's a fat, like oil, like butter, and it makes the most delicious warm dressings or whatever you want. So you save it, or you fry your eggs in it, your potatoes in it. So I have that in the oven. I have my hard-boiled eggs on the stove. They're just sitting. They came to a boil, I'm letting them sit. This is kind of like, you know, when I was talking to friends about this, it's kind of a weird take on a Cobb salad, but with spinach and a completely different dressing. So for the dressing, it's gonna start with some neutral oil. Now, I say neutral oil, what is that? It's like a vegetable oil, a salad oil. It's one that doesn't have a lot of flavor. A lot of times I'm gonna use safflower oil because I think that's just the perfect kind of no flavor oil, and I like it. But use whatever oil you like. Now, I do not expect you to memorize what I'm doing and try to make up the amounts. No, my recipes are always on my website, wiseguide.com. You don't have to guess. That's the best part. So then I'm gonna add, this is a weird ingredient, it's ketchup. Yeah, so ketchup is used a lot of times in different dressings. And the thing is, I like to buy now ones that have no sugar because ketchup has a lot of inherent sweetness. So the ones with no sugar are gonna have like some balsamic vinegars in them and just some delicious things, and you really don't even know the difference. I'm being serious. But it gives you that great funkiness and that like depth of flavor. When you're done, you have no idea it's ketchup. So I'm also gonna put in still some vinegar, and I'm gonna use apple cider vinegar. I like to use a good one that has some good flavor in it. It just adds that great kind of like punch of acidity. It balances out I think the ketchup somewhat. And to further balance out that ketchup or the vinegar, I'm gonna add a little bit of honey. Not a ton, but it does just kind of give you that inherent sweetness. So originally, a recipe like this, especially in those good church cookbooks where you know the recipes are good, it had like a cup of sugar. Now, I know some people don't care about sugar, that's fine, but you know what? It's too much. And then it kind of just like mellows out all the other flavors and you don't get the good flavor that you want. I'm gonna put a little bit of salt in there. Look at that. And then some Worcestershire sauce. Now that again, that kind of adds, you kind of sometimes hear about umami, which is the fifth sense. It adds that flavor. It adds kind of that punch of something extra that you don't know what it is, but wow, does it balance everything out. So I'm just stirring that together. Look at that. And you get an interesting looking dressing. And that to me is what is the best. So what I like to do to taste it, take a piece of spinach, people. Just take the spinach, dip it in it. It's like my childhood. I love that. Gonna stir it together. I think you can use a little bit of pepper. I'm gonna put some pepper in it. Sometimes you just need it. A little bit, dump it in, stir it. So, this salad, we have bacon in the oven. It's cooking. We have hard-boiled eggs. They're finishing up. The last component. And something that I think, do you see how simple this is, by the way? Super simple. Growing up, Mom would have this almost on a nightly basis when radish were ready in the garden and spinach, because guess what? It's what we had on hand. So I'm taking some radish and I'm just slicing them. If you are like me, you can go out to the garden and pick tons of radish, or if you're not, don't worry, there's tons of delicious ones in the store or at a market. And I love a good radish. You get a little bit of pepperiness with it. You get just like a little bit of that bite, but you get the crunch, and that's the best part. So I'm gonna slice some more radish. We're gonna get the bacon out. We're gonna get everything ready, and we are gonna make a quick, a simple, a spring and summer classic staple, spinach salad, my way. So this is so simple that it's all right here ready to go. I pulled the bacon out of the oven and I put it on some paper towels just like grandma and mom always did, because it does. It soaks in some of that residual grease. It doesn't just sit in it that way. I have my hard-boiled eggs. These actually peeled really well, which they don't always, do they? And I know older eggs peel easier, but anyway. I have my radish chopped up. I have some, you can do regular onion. Mom always growing up would do regular onion. She would add it right to the dressing, which does kind of temper out the flavor of regular onion. Instead, sometimes I use green onions, scallions, chop them up, they have a lighter flavor, and just add them to the salad. So whatever you want. So I have my dressing, just giving it a good mix here again. And we have my spinach. And we're just gonna put some dressing over it. Now, you know, dressing is always one of those things to taste. And yes, this makes more dressing than for one salad. Guess what? It stores in the fridge perfectly. You can have this on repeat all week long. So I'm just gonna kind of toss it. Look at that. I do. This is, you know, we all have those foods, and I get it, we all do, but that just kind of bring out what you remember as a child. That's the salad for me. We have this all the time. So we have the spinach, that beautiful spinach, and we're gonna put it right in there, and then we have the toppings for it. So we have the spinach, that's not enough by itself. Let's chop up some bacon. Now, I will admit, on my wood cutting board, I don't often do the bacon, any type of meat or anything, just because it can soak in some of those flavors, and then you'll get them in other things. So instead, you could almost just crumble this, but instead I just chop it up. Look how good that looks. And then we can do the same thing with some egg. The hard-boiled egg. So really what you're having here is, oh, and look how perfect those yolks are. You don't always get that. You gotta enjoy that when you have that, because you know, they're not always perfect like that. What I love is, we would eat this honestly a lot of times as a meal. Now, when we were really young, I'm sure as kids, we probably had other things to go with it, but mom, dad, this would be a meal, especially at lunch. You get all the goodness. You get tons of protein from egg and from bacon, actually. Yeah, bacon has protein. Yeah. So it's a great thing to have. So with our salad, you can just on top of it, bacon, because why wouldn't you? Obviously. And look at that, just kind of mix some of it in. Tons of radish. This is what's gonna give you that freshness from the summer. This is gonna give you that kick of just like great flavor. Now, the egg, I'm gonna say you could kind of just like lay on top if you're doing individual salads. It kind of depends what you're wanting. You could chop it up really fine, the onion, but it's kind of like whatever works for you. You can dress each one if you want. I'm gonna grab a plate. Got my plate. You know, sometimes I remember to get a plate. A lot of times I don't. So grab some salad. This is the best part. Grab your friends, grab a bowl, eat up. This is what I love. Kip is in here. He's at my feet as always. As soon as he hears a plate, it's go time. It's so simple. It's so good. What I love is the dressing, it doesn't like scream at you. It doesn't slap you in the face. It's not one of those gloppy, gross, heavy dressings. Instead, it's kind of like a pseudo vinaigrette that has tons of flavor, but just enough to bring out the spinach. Goes well with the bacon, which has such strong flavor. The crispiness, crunchiness, freshness of the radish goes well with it. It's just a great salad that pulls together, really simple. You can put it together, what? In like 20, 30 minutes, which is perfect, whether it's for a meal, a side salad. Guys, as always, share these videos around, not just because it helps me, but because everyone can see how fun and easy it is, maybe to use your own produce if you're growing this in the garden, and if not, try some new produce. Get some fresh things that are grown locally. Try them, have a fun, delicious, healthy salad. Enjoy it. It's great flavor. As always, recipes on my website, wiseguide.com. This recipe, so many other recipes. And until then, be nice, have fun, enjoy good food. That's the point. And maybe go garden. That's what I'm gonna do.